What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, you're stumbling across a Faith Friday video. Every Friday I post a faith-related video to help you grow in your relationship with Jesus every single week. And if you're not new here, welcome back. So we'll just get right into
it because usually I ramble a lot.
This week's topic, I wanted to talk about contentment. And I know that I've talked a little bit about it in previous Faith Friday videos, but it's been something that's been up a lot for me in my quiet time and in my devotionals and all that. So I feel like it's something that I should share with you guys as well. It's really hard to be content with what we have and with what we look like and what our life is like compared to someone else, because so much of our life is on social media now. So if the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning is unlock your phone, that's the first thing that you're allowing in is comparison. And you're comparing, you know, what time you got up with what time so-and-so got up, and you already feel less productive because she got up at 4 a.m. and you didn't. Or she's got abs and you don't. Or this person is thriving in their career and it just looks like they have this happy-go-lucky life and a perfect family, and you don't feel that way. So we live in a world where it's really, really hard to feel content with what we have and where our life is at, and that is why I feel like this message needs to be shared. And I know that I'm talking to myself with this as well because I struggle with this as well. So I wrote down some notes in my little notebook. So if I look down, it's because I'm reading my notes so that I don't ramble on this entire video. But I wrote, a content heart is satisfied with the giver and is freed from craving the next gift. So this just means that a content heart doesn't need more and doesn't need less. They're completely content with what they have, and they're not eagerly expecting more. They're just good where they're at. And so I have two little diagrams that I wrote out that helped me understand this. But when we live self-focused lives, from that branches off comparison, jealousy, and then jealousy leads to discontent, and discontent leads to dissatisfaction. And when you're dissatisfied, you're constantly searching for ways to satisfy you, which leads to constant searching, and then that leads to nothing ever being enough and nothing ever filling that void, and that leads to the thought that you're not enough or I'm not enough. And then when we live focused on Him and what He's given to us, it leads to blessings, which leads to gratitude for what you have, which leads to uniqueness because you know that your story and your blessings are completely different from the people around you, which leads to contentment, which leads to satisfaction, which leads to stillness, which leads to, through Him, I have enough because He is enough. So it's completely opposite the thought processes in the little diagram. When we're us focused and self-focused, it leads to I'm not enough, I don't have enough, and constant searching. And when we're focused on Him, it leads to, through Him, I have enough because He is enough, and stillness, which leads to peace. And when we live self-focused lives, we miss out on a lot because we're so self-absorbed and so focused on what we don't have in our life because so-and-so has it, that we're missing out on what we already have, and we're missing out on the impact that those blessings that you already have in your life were meant to give to you. Kind of imagine God's point of view here, like He perfectly wraps up this little gift that He put His heart and soul into, drops it into your life, and you completely blow it off because it's not enough, it's not what you wanted, it's not what you needed, and it's not what she has. That would hurt, like that would sting if you did that for one of your friends, like you put your heart and soul into this gift and you give it to them and they just push it to the side. Sometimes they don't even realize you gave it to them, or they don't even open it. Like that would be hurtful, and I think that that is how God feels when we live such discontent and ungrateful and unsatisfied life. To put this in another perspective, since we're in a constant state of comparison, it's safe to say that other people are in a constant state of comparison too. So think of how someone might be comparing their life to yours. So what you consider a burden because so-and-so has more of this one thing or a better of this one thing, someone else may also be looking at your life and think that that thing that you consider a burden is a huge blessing that they're missing out on. Like it's an endless chain of events where people are dissatisfied because we're constantly comparing to the person next to us, and that person's comparing to the person next to them, and it just leads to more discontent, more searching, and more dissatisfaction. But we keep score, and so we think that God is, giving us the short end of the stick because so-and-so has so much more in their pile than we have in our pile. And that is a very selfish way of living. It's very self-absorbed. We're always focused on what we need or what we want or what we desire and what we don't have. We look to things here on the earth for our content and for our satisfaction, like people and our career, our successes, experiences, the things that we buy, the houses that we live in. We look to all of that for our ultimate satisfaction, and it's never enough, and someone's always gonna have a bigger house, a job that pays more, a better body, a better spouse. Someone is always gonna have something that seems better to you when you're living in a life where you're keeping score. So contentment and actual inner peace is not man-made, which means that we can't find that from anything that is man-made, which means that we can't find it from anything on this earth. Contentment was completely God-focused and God-made, which means we have to look to Him to get it. So we're looking horizontally for satisfaction when we were meant to look vertically and look up. And I think that we've kind of got it warped. Like, we look at creation as a way to satisfy us and as a way to fill us, but creation was really supposed to be a big finger pointing upwards to get us to look to Him for our satisfaction. I'm gonna read the verse, Psalm 73, verses 25 and 26, and it says, "Who do I have in heaven but you? There is nothing on earth that I desire besides you. My flesh and my heart will fail, but God is the strength of my heart forever." And that's like the ultimate picture of satisfaction. Like, nothing on this earth will satisfy me. Nothing on this earth will fill my heart or fill all the holes that I have and make me feel less empty. It's just God. God will be the strength of your heart forever. And I also wrote down that the quest for satisfaction is never ending and exhausting unless that quest leads you to Him. So until you shift your perspective and realize that contentment will not come from anything that you're chasing after unless you're chasing after Him, you're going to be exhausted. You're going to be left feeling empty. You're going to be let down and disappointed. And we're missing out on a lot when we live like that. And I'll read 1 Timothy chapter 6, verses 6 through 7, and it says, "But godliness with contentment is great gain. We brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out." And I think that just kind of wraps it all up to say, like, it's really, really silly and a waste of your time to put any value in the things that we have here on this earth, because ultimately, if you die 5 minutes from now, you don't get to take any of this crap with you, and it means nothing. But if you have inner contentment and you have the happiest soul that there is, and you have the best and most thriving relationship with God, and know that all good things come from Him and that there are good things in every day, then you leave this world with absolutely everything you could have left it with. And I think that that's what God is always trying to get through to us. Like, sometimes it seems like the more that you crave and the more that you want and the more that you lean on worldly possessions and worldly things for your happiness, the more He starts to take those things away, because He knows that you're almost idolizing them. At least I know that that's like the experience that I have, is when I'm relying too heavily on something here on this earth for my happiness, it's like that thing gets taken away. And I think that's God's way of being like, yo, look at me, I have it, I have your peace, and I'm willing to give it to you, but you have to take it, and you have to accept that this is peace. Peace is not anything else on this earth, it's from Him. I hope that it kind of encouraged you in a world where it's very full of social media and comparing our lives to other people's lives or pictures of their lives, that we can still find contentment, and it's not going to be found in transforming our lives into these cookie cutter perfect Instagrammable situations and having all of the possessions and the success and the money that we could possibly have, you will still be left feeling empty. And if you would just stop living so self-focused and thinking of what you need and what more you want, and focus on what you already have and how you have enough because you live for him and he lives in you, your life will be a whole lot easier and a whole lot more positive. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button down below to join the Happy Soul Tribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.